How's it going, guys? In this video, we're going to talk about the first 6 mods that I would recommend you do to your new Edge Mustang. Now, there's a lot more than 6 mods that you can do to these cars. There are hundreds of different mods that you can do to these cars. But if I were to pick my first 6, if I had a stock new Edge Mustang, these would be the first 6 that I would make. So number 1 on the list, for sure, hands down, has to be the exhaust. These cars sound nuts. There's a bunch of different exhaust mods that you can make, but I'm gonna group it all into one mod, all exhaust related. So, you know, headers, H-pipe or an X-pipe, and, you know, a catback exhaust. But this car specifically has BBK headers and Bassani exhaust, and it sounds fantastic. I'll put a little clip in here so you guys can hear it. But it sounds amazing, and that would be my number 1 mod for this car. Speaking of, I was looking up because Bassani exhaust, I guess they used to be really popular and they're not anymore. So let me know in the comments below if you know what's going on at Bassani. Are their exhausts just more expensive, or do people are just they not into them? You know, there's like Magnaflow and, you know, Borla, and there's a couple different brands that, you know, people talk more about, but I haven't heard much people saying, you know, put a Bassani exhaust on your Mustang. So let me know in the comments below if you guys know what's up. Is it just an older company that's, you know, no longer in with the Mustang crowd? But yeah, for sure, hands down, first mod, exhaust. Number 2 on the first mods that I would do to a Mustang, a new Edge Mustang specifically, would be the suspension. Now, I've mentioned this before, but I think that these cars ride like, if they're off-road cars, like the wheel gap is atrocious. Like, it is not very good looking at all. So I would definitely recommend getting some sort of suspension setup for this car. And not only is it gonna look a lot better, but it's gonna handle amazing. It's gonna handle way better than stock, and you're gonna have a good looking, you know, stanced car. I mean, if you want, you don't have to go super low, but better than the wheel gap that comes stock on these cars. So this car specifically, my 2001 Ford Mustang GT, is on strange coilovers. They're adjustable coilovers. I have it set, I think it's on one of the higher settings, just because this is my daily driver. So I'm not gonna have it sitting super low to the ground, and I'm gonna be scraping my exhaust on everything and not being able to get into parking lots and go over speed bumps and all that stuff. So I mean, I can adjust it if I wanted to, but I have it sitting, you know, definitely lower than stock, but it's not sitting at its lowest setting just because I don't know, I don't want to go through that mission, especially on a daily driver. If this was a weekend car or something, then maybe, but for my daily driver, I'll keep it at a reasonable height. So number 3 of first mods that I would do to a new Edge Mustang would be, hands down, rims and tires. Rims and tires make such a big difference on this car. Personally, unless you have like a Cobra and you have the Cobra rims, I don't think they look good, the stock rims on this car. So definitely pick yourself up a set of rims and tires. Nowadays, you can get into a set of rims and tires for pretty cheap, and it can completely transform the look of your car. This car specifically is actually, speaking of Cobra rims, it's on replica Cobra rims, and it's got it's a staggered setup. So on the back they're the deep dish rims, and on the front they're flush. But I love the stance of this car. So lowered with these rims, when I bought this car, it came with these rims and tires and suspension setup, and I was like, man, it is perfect. Like, I do not want to change it at all. So definitely get yourself a pair of rim and tire combo, because it is going to make such a difference not only on the stance of the car, but on the performance. I mean, if you've got anything done to your car, the grip, like I have zero problems with grip on this car. So it's got a staggered setup. Like I said, on the front it's got 245s, and on the back it's got 315s, and they fit perfectly back there. They are amazing in regards to grip. It can get a little bit sketchy in the rain, you know, if you're you know, driving like, but they are fantastic. They drive really nice, and you know, you got tons of grip, especially if you got mods done to your engine and stuff for more horsepower. Next up on the list of first mods that I would do to a new Edge Mustang would have to be the seats. Now, I specifically was looking for one of these cars that had newer seats, because these are now 20-something-year-old cars. Like, the seats are used, abused, they've been farted in, you know, hundreds of thousands of miles. You know, I don't know, I wanted a car with newer seats, and this car specifically, it actually came already with the seats that are in it, but they're aftermarket seats. They're super comfortable, they look sick. They're kind of, I guess, replica GT500 seats. I'll put in a little video or a picture, but the GT500 has, you know, the similar pattern on the seats. I think it looks sick. So I love these seats, and just, you know, when you get into a car, you want to have nice seats. You don't want to have, you know, cracked, all, you know, nasty leather, or like, you know, cloth seats that are just nasty. Like, these have like these little like Alcantara inserts in them, and the two-tone with, you know, the black car, I think they look absolutely sick. This would be, if it didn't have it already, this would be one of my higher priority list items to change on the car, because it absolutely transforms the car. Everybody that actually looks at this car is like, damn, those seats are sick. So I definitely think it's one of the must-do mods on your new Edge Mustang. So next on the list of first priority mods that I would do to a new Edge Mustang and I guess I'm gonna combine them. They're really two mods, but you kind of have to do them together, because if you don't, then you're not really taking advantage of the mod. And that would be the intake and the plenum. And obviously these work in combination, but if you just do, for example, cold air intake, which a lot of people do, you know, you're not going to be maximizing its potential, because the plenum is going to be restricting the airflow. So I would recommend just going ahead and diving in and doing both of these at the same time. If you're going to get an intake, get the plenum. So the sixth mod, one of the first mods that I would do to one of these cars, if I were getting one stock, would be to get a tune. So it kind of goes hand in hand with the last point about doing the intake and the plenum, but if you're having more air come into the engine, and you know, the engine, you're combusting a mixture of air and gas, so if you put in more air, you're gonna have to put in more gas. So just make sure, if you get a cold air intake and a plenum, to get a tune. That way you can actually maximize the use of the intake and the plenum, you know, getting more air into the engine. So you want to make sure that that ratio is correct, and that you're, you know, maximizing the mods that you do to the car. So definitely get a tune. You can get a custom tune. They have, you know, the preloaded tuners that you can order online and just hook up to your computer and tune the car. I'm not exactly sure which one would be best. This car specifically, it was already tuned when I purchased it. It already had the intake, the plenum. It also has bigger injectors, cams. It has a bunch of stuff done to it, so it is tuned on 93 octane, and the car runs fantastic. So, you know, I bought it that way, and you know, the person who sold me the car told me it was tuned on 93, so I am just running it the way it is. Super fun, you know, if it ain't broke, don't fix it, and it's running fantastic, so I'm gonna just keep it that way. But definitely get a tune if you want to maximize the use of the intake and the plenum, because there's no point in you getting something that puts more air into the engine, but the engine doesn't know to add more gas because you're putting more air. So it's kind of almost a useless mod to do the intake and the plenum if you're not gonna have a tune. All right, so I know I said I was gonna say 6 of the first mods that I would do to a new Edge Mustang, but this is a little bonus for you guys, and I think it is highly necessary to bring this car up to date, you know, into 2022, and that would be a new radio, or you know, dash unit or screen, whatever you want to call it. I think they are really affordable now. At this point, you can get a solid radio for like $200-400, and that's gonna have Apple CarPlay, you know, Android Auto, whatever that's called, and you're gonna be able to hook up a, you know, rear view camera if that's what you want to do. But one of those little radios is gonna be fantastic to kind of, you know, make this car feel a little bit more modern. So I would definitely recommend that. Just a little bonus. I actually haven't done it yet to this car, but that's on my to-do list, is to get a new radio unit for this car, because it completely changes it, makes it look more modern and more usable. You know, I have to have my my phone hooked up to the little holder here on the dashboard when I want to put the GPS somewhere, because I hate directions, like going places without the GPS, so I just have my GPS hooked up all the time. But I would definitely, you know, it'd be a lot more convenient just to have the little screen display the GPS. It'll definitely make the car more modern, so that's on my to-do list to do for the car. But that would be my little bonus, you know, thing to do to one of these new Edge Mustangs, to kind of bring it up to date and bring it up to you know, 2022 standards. So if you have a Mustang and you know, you have some mods that you would prioritize over others, let me know in the comments below what would be the first mods that you would do to your Mustang, your new Edge Mustang specifically, or any Mustang for that matter, because a lot of these mods, I mean, whether you have a Fox body, a new Edge, or one of the newer Mustangs, you know, a lot of times the mods that you're going to do to them, you're going to prioritize them in a certain way. So let me know in the comments below how you would prioritize these mods. These would be my first 6 mods, plus the little bonus there that I would do if I got a stock Mustang. This car has all of those done, plus more. So I'm really happy with this car. And yeah, thank you so much for watching the video. And if you liked it, make sure to give it a thumbs up. And I'll see you in the next one.